What's up, everybody? We are in a random hotel elevator lobby with the one and only Dominick Cruz. We just bumped into him here. And we're like, can we go live with you on Facebook? So welcome.
Glad to be here in this maroon room.
You know, it's going to be funny when someone comes out here to like get on the elevator to go down. And everybody goes, is that Dominick Cruz talking?
No, I don't know.
Dominick Cruz, so you're out here obviously for UFC 209. A different kind of job for you, calling fights with your pal Joe Rogan. First time with Rogan. Are you looking forward to that? Second time with Rogan.
Second time with Rogan. Second time with Anik.
Okay.
So I'm good.
Yeah.
Me and Anik have worked together for a long time. Joe, I've had one show with him. I went in there, covered like 3 fights, and each fight finished in like 30 seconds. So I got like one rep of like a total of 2 minutes doing that job. But then I did another one with Anik in Brazil. That one was tough because, I mean, you try to say some Portuguese names a couple times. It's pretty impossible. Not to mention that those guys are all the way out there in Brazil, so they don't get quite as much coverage sometimes as they do in the Brazilian media. So I had to do 10 times the research. But this one everybody knows everybody on the card. It's UFC 209. It's a bunch of studs filling it up. It was a lot of fun preparing for this one.
Can we get into the fights in just a minute and talk about you for a second first? You were on Rogan's podcast last week, and it was a fascinating listen, especially the last 10 minutes or so when you talked about the cut. But even the beginning of it, I mean, so much respect for the way you handled yourself after 207. But tell me about the cut and how it changed your strategy in the fight.
Yeah, well, you know, at a certain point in a fighter's mind, you always do come to the point, all right, what happens if things don't go as planned? And for me, I always plan ahead. So while I'm prepared for best case scenario to go in there and win like I've done so many times, I'm also prepared for plan B and plan C. Well, I hit plan C on this one, and I got cut in the beginning of the third round. He just threw a random kick, and I was trying to time a takedown, and it landed right on my eyebrow. I think it was that got me. But when that cut happened, I wasn't rocked or anything. I knew that I was bleeding, and when I was fighting, I was like, whatever, it's a little bit of blood. Who cares? Everybody bleeds, you know. It didn't bother me, but I knew that I had to go for the kill because I didn't know once a doctor comes in, they're looking at you like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Get out of my face. I'm in a fight, man. Like, get out of here. I'm bleeding. What do you expect? And they're playing with it, and they're like looking at each other. And I'm like, man, I cannot let these doctors.
What's that like as a fighter? Where you're just like,
it feels like right now, like I'm being cornered in front of some elevators with a microphone shoved in my face. This is how it feels. Yeah, you're in the middle of a fight, and you're like, man, get your hands out of my face. Get away from me. Like, let me just go finish this. You know, that's how it feels. Yeah. But when they're touching it and they're looking at you, you're like, all right. I don't know. I can't see it, but I know that there's a cut, and it's obviously there, so I need to just go for the kill.
Did you hear the crowd gasp, though? They showed it on the Jumbotron. I was sitting there in the fourth row.
You hear all that. You hear the crowd's response, but, I mean, what does that really mean in the grand scheme of things for a guy like me? Nothing. I know that it's bad. I can feel it. I can see the doctors. That's what's more important to me than the fans making their assessment of the situation from the outside drinking beers, you know? But when I'm there, it's like I need to cut this guy. I need to put him on his butt, or I need to cut him, or I need to just drop him, take him down, or cut him.
Your strategy changes, right?
Yeah, right off the bat, when you get cut, no longer am I trying to be slick and move out of like I have two choices. I can either be slick and not get hit and protect the eye and play safe, or I can just go for it. And for me, I'm the type that I just want to just go for it. So I went for it, and that created some openings for him in the third or towards the end of the third round, but more in the fourth. And then I just went for reckless abandonment in the fourth round. That gave him some openings to put me on my butt a couple times. And then I had to survive that and come back and win the fifth. So that was just, I think I won 2 out of the 5 rounds in that fight, I would say. So I'll give him 3 fights. But the way I look at this whole situation is different than everybody else. This is a 15-round marathon. This is not a 5-round fight. And I could more than likely face this guy another 2 times, especially after I beat him when we rematch. Or I could fight TJ. I don't know who's going to win between him and TJ. But the way I see it is with him or TJ is this is a 10 to 15-round marathon. This is not a 5-round fight. So adjustments are going to be made. Things are going to change. And the fight can turn out different every single time.
Mikey's asking about the match and when it might be.
Yeah, we don't know when a rematch is going to happen, guys. I mean, that hasn't been set yet. Right now, my feet are healing up. Everything's healthy except my plantar fascia tendonitis, which ironically, it's just so stupid because it's one of those things where I could still train every day. I could still do stuff, but the only way your feet heal is to literally sit on them and do nothing. It's like, I can't do that. Like, I'm a professional athlete. Like, I can't just sit down and be like, all right, guys, like, have a good day training while I sit here and rest my feet. It's like, no. So I tape them up and I keep going and I'm doing massages on them and I'm, doing the best I can, but rest is the key for me right now. So I think I'm just going to kind of really heal up. It feels good to train right now to just improve and not to train to prepare for an individual. That's a big change for me since coming back from all these ACL injuries. I come straight back, all right, you're preparing for Dillashaw. Okay, you're preparing for Faber. Okay, you're preparing for Cody. That's 3 title fights in 1 year. No time to really fill in the gaps of what was missing after my surgeries. Zero excuses. I'm just explaining that this is real.
You had no time.
Yeah, I came right after. I had 9 months of rehab, and then they asked me for the Dillashaw fight. So I didn't
ease yourself back in.
Yeah, I didn't ease myself back in. So all this being said, these are all things that I get now. Like I don't. Those guys are fighting. Those guys are doing their thing. It's nice to be able to sit on the outside, train every single day, and just fill in gaps and do what I want to do and focus on technique and throw kicks and throw kicking combinations and box combinations, work on my jiu-jitsu, work with this guy, work with that guy, fill in some gaps, heal my body, and then get back in there and give it another shot.
You lose the fight, but then after the fight you win by going, I mean this is in the utmost respect, you put on the suit and you go to the press conference where a lot of fighters could have said, you know what, I'm going to leave. And you stood up like a man, and I remember watching that thinking like, this guy just put on a master class of how to handle a loss on such a stage. Where did that come from, and was it just a natural thing for you to do? Because I think fans out there are like, look at that guy.
It's hard. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that was what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that I've probably talked more about how I handled myself after a loss than any win I've ever had in my whole career. Mm-hmm. And it blows my mind. It's like, I can't believe that.
I think it's just something about people. Like, we all suffer losses, and we don't, some people hide, and you see someone on this huge stage, and you handle it, and you see, like, I had a friend of mine said, like, that inspired me to be better at stuff that I do. Yeah. And, like, you inspire people by the way you act in adversity.
That's what I feel like this position is about. I'm not always perfect. I'm not always that guy, but in loss, it's like the way that I view things going into fights to kind of relieve the pressure of winning or losing is to understand that winning and losing shouldn't change who you are or how you are or how or why you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Because that's not really, winning isn't the only reason I'm doing it. Losing, unfortunately, while it's a risk and I don't want it, that's where you learn the most. Yeah. But it's your choice. You can actually also learn nothing, which goes right back to probably 95% of the individuals that I've fought in my career that make an excuse after I put a master class on them. I was so tired of hearing it. Mm-hmm. So tired of hearing fight after being champion for 8 years that every single person I beat had an excuse. Oh, I was a little off. Oh, he did this, and I just, I felt a little rough. My thumb was up when I was knocked out on the floor, though, so they shouldn't have stopped it. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You lost the fight. At the end of the fight, the judges scored the win to the other person. So no matter what excuse you say, no matter
what. Getting off an elevator.
What's up, man?
There. Dominick Cruz. Or UFC
Don't mind us. But no matter what you do, it's like I can't change the outcome of the scorecard. So me sitting up there going, it was hard. He cut me, but I was fine. And then he didn't really hurt me. I should have won. It's like, what? I mean, I'm not accepting what happened, the mistakes I made in there. I can't blame anybody else except myself. So at a certain point, you just got to bite the bullet. Yeah. Be a man about it. Quit making excuses, guys. If you're fighting and you're losing, suck it up. Stop being such a puss.
I think it spoke volumes too, because there's another big fighter on your card that night who didn't come out to speak and instead just posts inspirational quotes on Instagram. And to see you come out and handle yourself the way you did.
It's not easy. That wasn't easy for me. It was not easy for me. It's not something I wanted to do, but it's about doing the things you don't want to do that makes you the person that you say you are before you win. Mm-hmm. So you can be one person when you're winning. You can be this, you can say that, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah. But when you lose is when you really see the when you really see the true colors of a person is in a loss, when they're humbled, who is this person when they're not at their best. And I think that that's what's connected me with fans more than anything is I've been winning a long time, but I'm no different than when I lose. And that's something that I want to hold true to. I don't want to lose, but if I do, just know that it's not who I am. And it doesn't have to be who you are. It doesn't ruin my legacy as a champion. It doesn't make me less of a champion. I'm still that. I still know who I am, and that's what this whole thing is about. Winning or losing does not decide how I view myself. Living my life and being happy with the person and the human that I am is what makes me happy. And then the loss just becomes a figment of your life, and so does a win.
This is very interesting, I think, for everybody. But win and loss. So I was asking fighters today at media day, and this is totally different from anything we've been talking about. Mighty Mouse at the Super Bowl told me he could beat me in 90 seconds. You know, UFC, MMA rules. But he would take his time. So he'd start with a liver shot, and then he'd throw some more rights. And like he would, you know how he is, and he would just take me down. How long do you think it would take for you to beat me in a fight in the octagon? I'm 6'3", 235. For training, I don't do sit-ups, but I do spin class.
Spin. So the legs are strong.
Kind of.
I could probably do it in a minute.
Minute?
Yeah, I'd say 60 seconds. He's got 90, but he's got to crawl all the way from your kneecaps all the way up to your big head.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, am already right here. Yeah. See, so I get to start right at the midsection. I have a quarter of the time. That cuts about 30 seconds off. And really all I got to do is get you to think that you're in a good position and then choke you.
Choke me. Jesus, these guys are so violent. Lando said he would beat me in 25 seconds with a liver shot. I don't
liver
want to
shots are nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that. No. You'd rather be choked or put to sleep.
Liver shot, you just go right down to the ground and like you know everything that's going on, right? But you can't do anything.
Liver shots are like pushing a button to where it's like, no matter what you're trying to tell yourself, it's not happening.
Yeah.
You might, unless crapping yourself is part of that situation, which is, you know, a good possibility. Ask the Black Beast.
Yes, he's great. We talked to him at the Super Bowl. I asked him what was the last movie that made him cry, and without flinching, he just goes, The Notebook. Like, really? He's like, twice. And I'm like, tell me the story. He's like, don't want to talk about it. Yeah, don't want to talk about it.
That was a touchy situation.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I had to go number 2. Guy, all right, Dom, let's get into the fights on Saturday night. The two main events, co-main event. They're both main events.
Both main events.
I think it's a toss-up for both. I don't know who to pick. People are like, who do you want to pick? People on Twitter are like, who are you picking to win? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I can't pick a winner.
No, but I would break down what you think. The Ferguson-Khabib fight, it's an amazing fight.
This is what I do best, and this is probably why I like color commentary, because I don't have to pick a winner. I can explain to the world and you guys at home and everybody here, like, I know exactly the tools that are going to be used. The thing is, you don't know how the mental's going to go when these tools are used.
You were working the Maya fight, right? When he did like an 11-point, like he knew where he had to get, and he went around. And you described each part he got to.
Crazy. I know what these guys got to do, but it's a question of can they do it where their mind's at. Yeah. That's the missing link that doesn't get tossed into the equation a lot, and nobody can do that except the fighter. So, but if I had to choose Wonder Boy and Tyron Woodley, how that fight's going to go, it's going to go exactly like it did the last fight. It really is. You can't fight either of those guys any different with their styles and how they're composed. Yeah. Thompson has to stay on the outside, use his speed, and use his elusiveness and his weapons and stuff the takedowns. But you got to remember the reason why Wonder Boy wasn't throwing a lot.
Sorry, we got to use it.
What's up, man?
Dominick Cruz, UFC champ.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
We're out here on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to say it so you don't,
I'm English, so
you're not
yeah, he beats people up for a living.
I don't like bisping either, you know.
Yeah.
He agrees with me.
What the hell were we just talking about? Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. I see him staying on the outside, using his quickness, using his speed, using his kicks. He's got more tools in the sense of stand-up because he kicks, he spins, he hits angles, he's hard to hit, all this stuff. Yeah. But the tool that really caused him the most problems is the wrestling. The wrestling is what you see is causing Stephen Wonder Boy problems. It's not the striking of Woodley. The striking of Woodley is there, but the power of Woodley is there more than the striking. So he's got the power, and then Woodley's got the wrestling. Thompson has the speed, the elusivity, and the takedown defense. How's it going to go? Same exact way it went last time. It's just a question of who lands one or two more to make it not a draw.
think both those guys are just so sick of talking about each other because it's been going on now since what, November or October, September?
I don't feel bad for them. I had to talk about Faber for 10 years, and he still talks to me somehow because I'm still fighting his teammates. So you're not getting any pity from me.
I've been around Tony Ferguson. He came in last week and we talked to him. I never met him before, and he is an intense, funny maniac. Like, I mean that in the nicest way possible. Like, he brings something different to this table.
Yeah, he's just different. I mean, realistically, look at his fighting style is different. His personality is different. I think a lot of the difference that you see in a lot of his fighters is the chip on their shoulder. Some of us. I think Woodley has it a lot. I was at the media day today, and he is not happy.
No.
He hates media. He hates people. He hates Wonder Boy. He hates everybody. Like, I thought I was friends with him, and he hated me for a second, you know? He just... You get fed up with hearing people's opinions is what it comes down to. It's like, you know that you're in a 1 percentile of the planet Earth in the sense of what we do as athletes. Mm-hmm. Nobody else can do what we're doing. Yeah. Put our whole life on the line and what we think of ourselves for people to have their own ideas about us. Yeah. We're putting that out there. It's our choice to do that. So, that being said, he's a lion listening to a bunch of sheep come at him, and he's tired of it. He's tired of hearing the sheep. And I get that. Yeah. So
that's all going to play in for him on Saturday night. I think he's just bringing all that in.
Yeah, I think that everybody has their own ways to wrap their mind around what's going on, to deal with the stress, the anxiety, the fear, the happiness, the anger, the everything. It's so much emotions that everybody finds one way to tune it in, and I think that's Woodley's. Mine has been that before too. Sometimes it's been the opposite. It just depends. Each fight is different. Yeah. As for Thompson, I just think that he's just Thompson. He just wants to be loved and liked by everybody, and that's his sole focus.
Yeah, reminds me. He feels like he could be Sage Northcutt's older brother.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
two like the nicest guys I've met.
Yeah, well, Sage to me is like younger, so I think that you're getting more of a real young, new, somewhat a little naive 21-year-old that's just a stud that can kill people.
He was on UFC Countdown, and he was with the documentary, and he was with Woodley, and Woodley was putting seasoning on his chicken before he cooked it, and Sage was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm putting seasoning on the chicken." He's like, "Never done that before." Like he's
exactly.
playing out like
exactly, and that's pretty much how he looks.
Yeah,
he looks like a walking kale salad. You know, like just yoked for no reason.
Oh, love him. He's a good kid. And so then
but he's nice. He's just like he's so real though. With Wonder Boy, it's like he's a super nice guy, but I think he wants to let the jerk out, but he won't. Yeah. I think he wants people to like him too much to let his real self out. I've seen real Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson when the cameras are off. And he wants to be like me in the sense of just let it all hang out. Let's say what he wants to say. But I think he's more worried about how people are going to view him. Yeah. And so you're seeing Woodley, who's just like, screw it, everybody, whatever. I mean, and Wonder Boy is just like, I'm a nice guy. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to try to beat Tyron Woodley. And I don't blame him. Both these guys got a huge fight in front of them. It's tough to deal with the ups and downs of the emotion, people's opinions, fans, everything. It's so much. I don't think people even know.
And then there's Khabib, who's this just brute force.
Yeah.
You talk to him and he just looks at you and he's like, he's got killer like in his eyes.
Well, out there in Dagestan, which is something he was real focused on, he's got a different type of mentality out anybody from that way has a different mentality than we have here in the States, clearly. I mean, they have different upbringing, different economy, different everything. So I think that has part to play with it, but also the upbringing of his father. He's very close to his father. His dad, I heard, he wasn't able to get no visa, so he wasn't able to come with them out here to the States, which really I think kind of bothered him a little bit that he couldn't have his family out here. But he talked very much to me about how he has his family here. AK is his family, Rockhold, Daniel Cormier, all these guys are his family when he comes out here. And he's sad that his dad couldn't come, but he knows that he's still talking to him and he's still got his strength. But I think that all these little things, being from another country, coming here, you know how hard that is? Yeah. Not speaking English well, having to come out here and do these interviews and act like you speak our language. I'm not going to Dagestan and trying to speak Russian.
No. I thought about that yesterday when he got, so we're all around him. There's like 30 media, and he was sitting there. I thought, like, this kid, like, this isn't his native language.
That's another level of intensity. Yeah. It really is. Like, I'm doing it. You got Americans who grew up in this society, they can't do it.
Yeah.
They won't. You put the camera in front of them, and they're froze up, and they speak the language. He's speaking another language, and like, there's so much to this that people don't really add in. That adds extra things that goes into your brain.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what did they think about my English today? Was it bad? Everybody's making fun of me online because my English.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's focused on the task at hand. His family got left behind. He's still here. He's got a team full of brothers that he brought from Dagestan to come out here with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I got nothing but respect for the guy for just, 24-0 record, all the things that he's facing. That's a lot of pressure, and he's about to face it head on. And Ferguson, same thing. His lack of care, his lack of giving a F, for lack of a better term, on my side, it just plays in his favor.
He has that psycho look about him.
Yeah, it's like
I might lose, but I'm going to get everything
doesn't
I
care.
got.
He doesn't care, and that's what it's about. That's what this thing's about.
Yeah, it's going to be two great fights. A whole great card, undercard, and the main card. It's Saturday night. What's that? Tomorrow night? No, where are we?
No,
Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday's weigh-ins, and then Saturday you're on there with Rogan and Anik. So it's gonna be a fun night. Dominick, thanks for joining us here in this beautiful lobby. Maroon is really
Magenta, purple, or maroon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure someone, when they built this place in like '88, were like, "This is a great color. It's gonna last forever." And look at this. You nailed it.
That's what it was. The shoes, the walls. It's complete.
It's going to make people happy. There were a lot of questions about your feet.
Yeah. Well, it's the internet. Everyone loves feet on the internet.
Plantar fascia tendonitis.
Oh, yeah.
Ibuprofen every day, tape every day, massages every day, Botox occasionally.
It's basically like the muscle comes off your foot.
You got fascia that runs on the bottom of your foot. Pretend this is the bottom of my foot. It's all torn in a bunch of spots. And so there's just a lot of pain. Plantar fascia tendonitis is an epidemic. A lot of marathon runners get it. A lot of athletes get it. It's not a ending thing. It just hurts and it sucks.
Yeah, I remember Peyton Manning had it. And they talked about him. That was the first time I ever heard about it.
Antonio Gates had it.
Yes.
And he stopped playing a football game, and he got paid $30 million probably for that football game. So that gives you an idea. Yes, it's painful.
And then to fight, I mean, it was 1 foot for the Dillashaw fight, and then it was 2 feet for Faber?
Started on my left foot, and then it went into my right foot for Faber, and then by Cody, it was just all in.
Yeah. So now you're getting healthy. We can't wait to see you get back in there.
I'll be back, guys.
Cody and Dillashaw are going to fight, we think, maybe this summer at some point. And then
around July, maybe.
Yeah. And then you're kind of sitting back and letting them do their thing, and letting them.
I said that at the post fight. I said let TJ have a shot. I think he has a very, very high chance of beating Cody.
Yeah.
There's
unbelievable that night.
there's some
Fight.
yeah he looked good.
Yeah.
There's some things that he uses that I couldn't use because of my injuries that I didn't have time to fix, which were my kicks. I used my kicks way more early in my career than I used in this fight. In my past 3 fights, really, I had to make do with what I had. And now I have time to get these tools back to 100% because I'm not, get to work. I can kind of let them go do what they're going to do and fight them healthy, refreshed like they fought me.
Yeah. We can't wait for it. But now you got to get to work Friday, and you get to work Saturday.
Breakdown fights.
Thanks to everybody for watching. Tomorrow we'll be at the weigh-ins over at T-Mobile, and then Saturday night's fight night. We'll be there all Saturday night. We can't wait for it. Dominick Cruz, thanks so much for taking time out of your day here in Las Vegas.
Thanks, guys. Come say hi if you see me around.
Come say hi, Dominick.